Today is not a no.
Well, it kind of is. The Liberal Party has officially opposed an Indigenous voice to Parliament in its current form.
It should be very clear to Australians by now that the Prime Minister is dividing our country and the Liberal Party seeks to unite our country.
The decision will be party policy, binding shadow ministers but allowing the backbench a conscience vote, with several already expressing support for the voice.
We have to actually live the values that we claim to have. And I don't know that we do that.
But the opposition leader says for the voice to be effective, it has to be local.
Having a Canberra voice is not going to resolve the issues on the ground.
The Leader of the Opposition has, with every utterance that he has made, sought to undermine support for a yes vote at the referendum.
A referendum, a good chance to pass based on a news poll out today showing a majority of voters in a majority of states support the proposal. But the coalition says the Prime Minister's bullheaded approach put them offside.
It's his timeline, it's his question, and his refusal to meet anyone else halfway on anything is breathtaking in its arrogance.
No Australian referendum has ever passed without support from both sides of politics, leaving the voice now facing a fight ever to be heard.
We reached out to almost the entire Liberal Party shadow cabinet and a fair few backbenchers as well to come on and talk about today's decision, but none of them were available. Luckily, The Guardian's Amy Ramakis did answer our call. Amy, good to see you. We know referendums without bipartisan support are virtually zero chance. So did the Libs just kill the voice?
Maybe once they would have just killed the voice, but we know that politics has changed and that the old rules no longer apply. It is going to be difficult, but every single referendum is difficult. And this isn't actually about politicians. It is going to be on the campaigns who are running each side themselves. So it is going to be difficult, as I said, but then it depends how many people actually listen to politicians now and how many just follow the issue on their own merits.
And indeed how divided or united the Liberal Party are anyway. We know the shadow cabinet is bound by this decision. It's a party policy. Backbenchers are not. Some have already said they're going to depart from that party policy. Is there going to be tension within the party over this?
There's already tension in the party over this, and we know that because the meeting wasn't particularly, congruent in terms of how each side was dealing with each other. You've got Liberals, small L Liberals who followed, the Menzies, Malcolm Turnbull tradition, and then you have Conservatives within the Liberal Party who go more to the right and who are more in favour of those harder right positions. They're in constant conflict as we move forward anyway, and the voice is no different on this. I think you're going to see quite a lot of moderates come forward and say we disagree with our party for these reasons, but at the moment they're a minority voice within the Liberal Party room, and that is one of the issues that the Liberal Party is facing.
Amy, so did you get any juicy intel and goss from the Libs party room?
Not exactly juicy intel or goss. I think everyone kind of left a little bit dispirited, even those who got their way. Going into the party room, they already knew what the decision was going to be, and that is because it's more of a Conservative party now than a Liberal party, or at least that's what the fears are. There were questions about Aston and whether or not they were going to learn the lessons from Aston, with moderates going, hey, people were voting more progressively in Aston and they say that they want us to move forward. Maybe we should listen to that. And the argument against that from more Conservatives was, oh, well, I think it's because we parachuted a candidate into that by-election. It's got actually nothing to do with what we're talking about. So lessons have not been learned, and that's going to be the ultimate lesson for the Liberal Party as it moves forward, I think.
Amy, apparently some of your colleagues at The Guardian have labelled Dutton as Abbott 2.0 after today's move. Why is that?
Because Tony Abbott said no to pretty much everything, and that's exactly what we're seeing from Peter Dutton as opposition leader. I think with the decision that was made by the party room today, and Peter Dutton had a lot of influence on that and a lot of direction, he has basically just set himself up as exactly the same sort of hard man that Tony Abbott was. Yes, it did get Tony Abbott to the lodge, but it also lost him the Prime Ministership pretty quickly afterwards, and we're seeing the flow-on effects within the Liberal Party from that sort of direction and leadership. So it's going to be a bumpy next couple of years for the Liberal Party, I think.
But the crucial aspect is what you just mentioned, that Tony Abbott did win. So he destroyed the Labor Party and then got to the lodge. Do you think it's any different in Dutton's case?
Well, the evidence of the way people are voting would say that, yeah, it is a little different. I mean, we've seen the New South Wales election and the Victorian state election and the Aston by-election all go against the Liberals. And they're not losing to hard right candidates. They're not losing to One Nation. They're not losing to shooters and fishers. They're losing to more moderate candidates. They're losing to the Greens. They're losing to independents. They're losing to Labor. And they're losing blue Liberal seats in that direction. People seem to have changed. The voting landscape has changed. People are younger, they're more progressive, and they're voting differently on issues. So I don't think that saying no is exactly the winning strategy that it might have been 10 years ago.
Amy, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.